Obviously, talking to the ladies is something important, right? You need to have good social skills, the ability to get your point across, be able to make sure the ladies understand you, where you're coming from, what you're about, what you want. Obviously, the straightforward method of I want to have sex is not ideal. Sometimes some guys don't know that you have to understand that for females, sex is a reward. Sex is not a goal for them. For us, sex is a goal, right? Everything we do is to ultimately get sex from the opposite sex. For them, is their goal is not to get sex. It's to them it's something they just do, and they'll do it after they reach their goals, and that's why whenever you ask them what they're looking for, they don't immediately be like, "You have to be hot, great in bed, blah blah blah." No, it's money, the 6 feet, blah blah blah. Like that kind of stuff. So they're looking for genetic aspects of being tall, being in shape, and blah blah blah. Your how much money you make, how you make it even matters. They like it when a guy actually does stuff to earn money. They actually want to respect what you do to get it, as opposed to just, oh, I'm a trust fund baby. I get money for free. I don't do anything. They don't. I noticed that that's something they don't seem to like. They tend to like it when a guy's ambitious, right? The whole going out and getting the money, right? They instead of them having infinite supply of fish, they want a man who can go out there and fish. I mean, they like it. They are turned on by a guy who's capable of making his own, getting his own stuff, like making his own money, you know, building something. And that's the thing. Is like, yeah, we guys, we build stuff. We're problem solvers, and that's something we gotta do. That's why it's always funny to hear guys complain about, females, bringing them drama issues, talking about they want peace, and it's like, that's not a man thing. See, we create peace. We don't ask for it. We don't want it because it just means there's nothing to do. Peace is boredom, right? Peace is the absence of something to do. A problem. There's no problem to solve because it's already been solved, right? That's how you can't appreciate and enjoy peace. But if you have too much peace, then there's a problem, right? So I prefer that every problem you think is a problem, it's not a problem. It's something for you to do. Oh, the toilet's not working. Okay, I'll fix it. See, something to do. It's a problem. A problem implies that you don't know what to do. That it's such a problem, you can't solve it. So someone else has to, right? Somebody else should fix it. Just like if someone's trying to break into your house, all right? That's a problem if you can't handle the situation. If you're in a dangerous situation where now you got to call the cops to save you because you can't do it yourself. So you don't want to be in that position, obviously. You want to be able to defend yourself, right? So defend yourself, right? Improve yourself as a person. Make sure you're capable of solving problems so you have no problems, right? Like Jay-Z, 9 hour problems, but a woman shouldn't be one of them, right? And that's the thing. It shouldn't be, especially when you get to pick them, right? When you get to vet them. When you get to ask them questions, and if they don't know that 2 + 2 = 4, then don't bother with them. Don't bother with them. That's the problem. Too many guys, they see a female look good and they think she is good. Same thing as when a guy acts good or says good things, females think he's a good guy. It's like no, you're judging him based off of what he said. See, females need to judge guys based off their actions, not their words. Logically, just like guys shouldn't judge females based off of their well, definitely don't base them off their words. Obviously their actions. But that's the thing is like don't assume you know what they're thinking based off their actions, because they have a tendency of doing the opposite, right? So they'll do one thing, but think the opposite. Like they'll think what they're doing is okay, but they don't realize what they're doing is wrong, right? So, like for example, they might think that they're letting you know that they're interested but in reality, they're just standing there staring at you, not saying anything. But in their mind, they think they're flirting with you. They think that they're letting you know, hey, I'm a little shy. Come, bring me out my shell. And it's like, no, you just give me a blank stare, like you're trying to burn a hole in my soul. It's like, I look a little creepy right now. And that's the funny thing is, it's like what she thinks she's doing or whatnot is not the same. She thinks she's doing something, but she's not. For you, like you don't see what she's doing, so you think she's doing the opposite of what she's really thinking she's doing. So it's the whole reality versus expectations. She expects you to think that she's flirting with you, that she's interested, she's giving you the choosing signals, but in reality, she's just giving you a blank stare, and now you're thinking like, okay, what did I do wrong? Should I walk away? Which is the total opposite of what she wants. This also reminds me of earlier when there was a guy that responded to one of my comments, well, to a video, and he commented on a video, I should say, and it was the idea of chicks playing games, so to speak, right? If a chick's playing games, she should stop. And she shouldn't do that. Like, why play games? Oh, no, it wasn't playing games. It was, why start an argument for no reason? The truth is, there is a reason. There's different reasons for it. And a real man, he knows what those reasons are. He understands that, yes, there are reasons. The point is, you're supposed to figure out what the reason is.
Yep.
She could be starting an argument so she can use it as a reason to break up with you. That's the reason. Or she started an argument so you be mad and then you'll have angry sex. That's a reason. And the list goes on.
Mm-hmm.
When you have experience like we do, you know when she's starting an argument for angry sex. Something you prepare for it because angry sex, you're going to love it, right? So logically, some guys will literally end up breaking up a relationship thinking that it's like, oh my gosh, she's drawing, she's tripping for no reason. It's like, you did not realize she was just trying to set you up for some angry sex. You idiot. The whole idea was for you to, break up to make up, basically. Like, she's trying to get you angry so that way you can have angry sex. Another thing is, like, start an argument because she wants attention. She'll do something just to make you mad, just so you pay attention to her.
Mm-hmm.
Just to see how much you care about what she does or says based off of your actions. So if you make a big deal about something she says, that will let her know, oh, he cares. He actually cares. Like if she says, like, oh yeah, she's going to go hang out with one of her exes, and you make a big deal about it, that shows you care. Like, no. I care about you. No. Don't go hang out with your ex. What the hell are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. Like, that shows he cares. If he's like, oh, sure, no, cool, no problem. She's not going to be happy with that. Like, oh, wow, really? Okay with me go hang out with my ex? I see how it is. So this whole idea of like, they're starting drama for no reason, starting an argument for no reason. It's like, no, there's a reason. You just don't know what it is. Which just proves that you're a child. Men know that there is a reason, and you have to figure it out. And the sooner you figure out, the better, because then you can act accordingly. Because again, like I said, if it's angry sex, you might not want to break up because of an argument.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you have sex for 2 weeks and now she's trying to start an argument for angry sex, and then you're gonna be an idiot and break up. Like, you didn't realize she was actually trying to set you up for sex that she hasn't given you in a long while, and you broke up like an idiot because you didn't know no better. And that's the thing, right? Pay attention, learn, because you know the difference between when she's really mad, when she really has a problem, versus when she doesn't. You should, because you should be paying attention. If you're not paying attention, then that's you being stupid, and whatever happens, and obviously you brought it upon yourself.
So, I want to speak to the topic of the world is yours. And when I say that, I mean, we all have different opportunities in life. And so we want to give ourselves the best chance at victory. The best chance we have is to be the best versions of ourselves, wake up every day and set forth on our journeys, not stay stagnant in our mindsets. So the best way I can articulate that is you want to achieve goals, as I've said before, but I've also want to say that you want to overcome hurdles. That comes with challenges, because the more challenges you're able to meet and you are able to supersede, the less walls you will come to in life. And therefore, so one thing that I see, especially when it comes to talking to the opposite sex that you were talking about earlier, is that when someone meets the other, that essentially it then becomes a matter of who's going to talk to who first. So I think one of the things that we have to understand, especially as men, is we're going to always be looked to as the aggressors, the not in a negative way, of course, but the one to make the moves that's necessary, that's needed, and essentially the opposite sex is not going to do that. They're not going to just come. So some of them will, but a majority won't. They always seek to be chased. They always seek to be pursued. They always seek to be the hunted, because they understand that they're the prey. They don't want to not play that role because it's something that they're good at. Yes, they're supposed to throw out choosing signals. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes we catch it, sometimes we don't. But when I say the world is yours, what I mean is, as long as you continue to overcome challenges, and go after what you want, and make sure it is what you want, you will start to attain things that you obviously would have never been able to do before. And the beauty is, all you have to do is put forth that effort in your mind. I'm going to get this. I'm going to achieve this. And continue to do it. But at the same time, understand that that determination cannot lead to self-destruction. You can't put yourself in harm's way trying to achieve it. So go for it, but don't do it at the expense of your moralities. If it causes you to question yourself, step back from it. Understand, is it what you really need?
Take a fresh break. They don't even have like fresh break. They love doing the whole live podcast thing. That's cool and all, I get it, especially with the whole super chat thing.
Yeah.
I get it. But realistically though, it's like, y'all need some pre-recorded shit. The pre-recorded shit has their benefits. Especially if it's meant to be like teaching how to do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Because by having it pre-recorded, you're able to edit it and add stuff to it.
Yeah.
Like facts. Here are the facts of 80% of divorces, blah blah blah, and you can actually post it in the fucking video.
Exactly.
And I never see that. It's like I don't see no editing that shows what website, screenshot of it. Like especially if you're like 80% and now look at the screenshot, it's 65%, so it actually dropped.
That's dropped.
Why you're just still saying 80% when the screenshot literally shows 65%?
Yeah.
Kim Samuels did a good job to lower that number. Y'all focus on repeating the talking points, but not double checking if they're still there.
Yeah.
If you have a problem, that it's been 2+ years and we still talking about 80%.
80%.
80%.
I'm like, the number has to shift. It's been a few years now. That represents
Yeah, and it's mainly because of money. Mainly because of money. You're like, oh, let's check the stats. Let's see if it's still money or if it's just guys constantly cheating, right?
Yeah.
Let's see if it changes. Like, see, it used to be money. Now it's not money. Now it's infidelity. Okay, so infidelity is now the number one cause because it was number 2.
Yeah.
But now it's number 1.
That's number 1. Makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
Makes sense. Things change.
That's changed. That's what we expect. And in a way, it's good because that means guys are getting their money up at least.
Yeah.
But because they're getting their money up, they're getting a little too greedy, trying to have some extra
Yeah.
females. And it's like, oh, she didn't agree to it, and now, surprise! She doesn't agree to it, and now she's gonna take half. Which is, again, something you have more control over.
Yeah.
Like, you should have control over everything. You should have control over your fitness, your finance, and your females. I'm gonna say it that way. The 3 F's. Your finance, your fitness, and your females. I have the 4 F's, which is fitness, finance, future, and family. That's the patriarchy. But the 3 things a guy definitely should master, in his life, at least at the beginning, is your fitness, finance, and females. This is why we're talking about it. Like, we're talking about it. You guys gotta learn how to talk to females. I mean, it's a potty, but it's like, you gotta learn how to talk to females. Y'all bitching about what they're doing, but you can't even talk to them in the first place to even get them to listen to you. Proof of that is on Freshman Fit, Sneeko and DJ Academic, they got tipsy. And they got out of pocket with the females.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. MTR did a stream about it. Most people are doing reactions to it. Even Freshman Fit did a reaction to their podcast.
What?
About Sneeko and MTR getting out of pocket with the females because they were tipsy. So they were raging, got drunk. That kind of bullshit.
Damn.
I'm like, wait, I thought I saw the podcast on the lifted weight. I remember they were, roasted the chick that sounds like a dude. She's Colombian, but she's hot though. Big ass and everything. Yeah, her voice is deep as fuck. But it works for her, ironically.
Yeah.
It's actually cute for her. Especially with how thick she is. But I get it, because at first I was like, is that a transformer? That'd be different.
Yeah.
A transformer on the podcast.
Yeah, because they really haven't ever really done it, have they?
I think they did one time. It was the chick that Kevin Samuels was talking to. Well,
Yeah.
a man, blah blah blah. He's trying to make a point with her, but that's about it. So it was weird. They're like, oh, I brought a transformer to a lot. Which would have been fine. It would have been interesting to see that perspective.
Yeah.
So you just had a deep voice. And of course, people was roasting her. And then I didn't see that. So I had to rewatch them getting out of pocket with the ladies. And the guys were complaining about academic behavior because they were saying like he's like a snake and this that, and third, and like he's a hater of the Freshman Fit's success and blah blah blah. Like, whoa! So he literally was drinking the haterade and brought it to the podcast.
Yeah.
And remember they were bragging about celebrities, blah blah blah. And I'm like, who the hell are y'all bringing in? And I see Stephen Academic, like, wait, these are the celebrities. These two? Not here before. Okay.
Not that, not the
Like,
down, but
exactly.
celebrity.
You were hyping them up, like you were hyping up that you were gonna have like somebody really cool and special. Somebody like will be like, oh shit, you actually got this person on the podcast.
Yeah, like.
But it's like Sneeko and
Academic.
like these motherfuckers have been here before. Like,
It's not really. They're not really that much of a celebrity.
yeah. Like if you got MTR, I'm like, whoa,
That'd be
oh
different.
shit, you got MTR there. That's interesting. MTR and who else would be interesting? Hypothetically, Antoine, like, oh shit,
Yeah,
MTR
yeah,
and
Antoine.
Antoine, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Or you got like half of the people.
Network,
Like, yeah,
What's
like,
your-
oh, okay.
Yeah, but the people that
Okay,
live on
you're
there.
expanding, like shit like that. Like, that
Yeah,
was-
y'all expanding even further.
or what's his name? The lawyer.
TLA. Yeah, Yeah,
the lead attorney.
yeah.
Like,
That's
that
it.
would have been
The
lead attorney.
Yeah, the lead
That's
attorney.
cool. And he can tell, he can talk from the
legal-
lawyers.
Yeah, the legal
perspective.
aspect.
Yeah, exactly. That would have answered it. Nah, it's fucking DJ Academics, AK, Big AK, with all the shit they were saying.
Big ass.
AKL, Big L, you know. Yeah, because the chick said something, made a joke about him being fat, and then he wanted to snap at her. Yeah, but I got money though. Yeah, but for some reason you didn't use it to fix your fitness. You had to finance it, you don't got the fitness. But you can afford it though, that's the thing. You don't have to be fat. I mean, if that's your thing and you want to rock it, that's your swag, that's your style, you pull bitches being fat, then fine. But this whole, you're representing very, very, very poorly. Because it goes back to that mindset. It's like, yeah, you got money, but you're still a fat ass.
Yep.
And not just because you're big, you also have the personality to go with it. She made a joke about your weight, and instead of you being smooth with it, being able to, to turn it around and make it into like, that's your asset, that's how you pull the bitches, is because you're a big boy, and big boys know how to play. And not only it's like, man, you fat, so is my cock, like something like that. That would have made sense. Like that would have been the right response, but not getting butt hurt and throwing shit at her. I can only imagine what he said. Probably was like, your ass is fake. My fat is real. My ass is real. I have a real fat ass. You don't. Or some childish shit like that. I'm like, really, niggas? Yeah, you're supposed to be representing the red pill, right? You're supposed to be representing, being woke to female nature and understanding them. And like the idea of understanding them is so that we can interact with them on the positive, because you know what to say and what not to say.
Exactly.
It's not about, we know that a lot of times they be assholes for this, that, and the third, so I'm gonna be an asshole too. Like, no, two wrongs don't make a right. The whole idea of the red pill is to wake you up to the fact that you probably dealing with a chick that's treating you wrong, and you need to know that she's treating you wrong.
Exactly.
So that way you can find a chick that treats you right, or deal with it. Because I was even just thinking today, it's like, I have no problem with chicks that are toxic. Like be acting toxic, be acting disrespectful, even ratchet from time to time. I don't have a problem with it. As long as it's not like 24/7.
Yeah.
Like, that's your whole personality. It's one thing once in a while, catching an attitude and being mad and stuff like that, and and whatnot. But if that's your personality, if that's an everyday thing, that's an all-time thing, then it's a problem. Right? It's like the chicks be talking about, my man, he knows how to handle me. Like, yeah, I bet he does. And that's good that he does. The thing is, not every guy can handle you. Right? And the problem is that you're trying to be difficult for the sake of being difficult.
Yeah.
Some guys are not really handling you, they're tolerating. There's a difference. There's handling and then there's tolerating. And to a certain degree, I can tolerate a lot of stuff. I can tolerate, disrespect to a certain degree. I can, tolerate certain annoying things. And that's the thing, is just because the main thing is make the most of the situation. A lot of these guys don't make the most of the situations they're in. They don't make the most of talking to a chick that's being an asshole, being toxic, being disrespectful. It's like, you can take advantage of it. If you know what you're doing and you know how you can make some use out of it, then make some use out of it. Same thing as like being in the friend zone, making the most of it. If you know how to, utilize the friend zone to get benefits, because you could be in one chick's friend zone and start pulling a whole bunch of chicks. You could be pulling her friends from her friend zone. So a chick you like puts you in the friend zone. You're like, all right, fine, so be it. Now you start pulling her friends from the friend zone.
Exactly.
You kept me too close. You kept me in the friend zone, and all your friends were close by, and I start pulling them instead. Yeah. Ironically, most females do that already with certain guys. They go into the whole, talking to the friends of the guy. So you can do the same. You can start befriending the friends and keep your options open. And that's the thing. Talking is just talking, right? You could just talk. Talk to our friends. Be nice. You know, not too nice. You don't want to be too obvious, but be nice enough that they have a little bit level of respect for you. One, you want to be nice to them because you don't want them to cock block, right? Obviously, you don't want them to get in your way of what you're trying to do. Because I've done that a couple of times. I've told the friend of a chick that I like, who I didn't find that attractive, but I still gave her compliments. I still spit game to her, just to make her feel good, right? So that way she can not cock block.
Mm-hmm.
That way she can, give her friend her seal of approval. Oh yeah, he's so sweet. He's so sensitive. Him and me, are Virgo or some shit. I'm a Libra, but you get the point. Like, oh yeah, we have the same sign. Oh yeah, he's such a great guy. Thanks for your seal of approval, because now your friend will give me, more of a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. It's kind of like a chick having a Rottweiler, and then the Rottweiler, or I should say, pit bull is like trying to attack you.
Yeah.
But if you give the pit bull a snack, it'll be a puppy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be nice to you. So that's the thing. It's like killing with kindness is what I try to do. So if I'm dealing with a chick and she has some female friends that, don't approve of me, then I need to get their approval. And there's other benefits to that. Oh my God, there's other benefits to getting the respect of the girls, as they say, right? They call it that, girls.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important to get the respect of her friends, because there's a high probability that they will try to look out. They might, since they respect you and like you and approve of you, they might actually try to make sure she doesn't ruin the relationship. So if they see that she's trying to cheat on you, they might actually cock block in your behalf. They might look out for you, right? They might prevent it from happening. And I've seen that happen. I've seen scenarios like that where, the friends of a chick looked out for the boyfriend and try to make sure the boyfriend didn't get screwed over because they actually approved of them. So it's very important to get the approval of the female clan, the female club, right?
Mm-hmm.
So befriend the friend group, right? Plus, other possibilities is that if it doesn't work out between you and her, then you have some options. Maybe the friends, will be interested, or maybe they know somebody that they could hook you up with. That's also options. The idea is that you want to have a good reputation, right? Just like if you spend time with a chick, or let's say you have sex with a chick, you don't want to go around spreading, that you're bad in bed to a whole bunch of chicks, and then that starts spreading, and it's like, yep, now there's 20 chicks that think I'm bad in bed.
Mm-hmm.
Or I should say, they actually know that I'm bad in bed because, they heard about it, and now I just lost 20 potential options. You don't want that. So your reputation matters, right? You think, just like money's a resource, your network is a resource, females are a resource. Their friends are a resource. The network is a resource. There's even scenarios where you can even ask their friends for advice that will help you with the relationship, because they know your girl better than you do, and they know the stuff that she won't tell you. They know the real her. So being good with the friends will be good for you, because they could tell you what's the best gift to get her. They might tell you something like, oh, in her childhood she wanted a certain doll, but she couldn't get it or whatever. She really wanted that doll, and then you end up being the hero by getting her that doll. You might find it somewhere, like somebody's doll collection or something, and you purchase it, and now she has that special doll that she wants, and that's attached to you. You get credit for that. That's a brownie point for you. And you want as many brownie points as possible. So you want brownie points with her friends, you want brownie points with her family, right? You obviously want her father's blessings and respect, and you want her mother's approval, the brothers and sisters approval, that kind of stuff. Because you definitely don't want other people to try to ruin your relationship. Because they wouldn't. If they don't like you, they will do things that can cause a problem. And you don't want that to be a problem. Right? That's the big thing. You don't want to allow problems to happen. You don't want your hobbies to be a problem. You don't want your homies and her homies to be a problem, right? And that goes obviously with boundaries and whatnot. And you have boundaries, you have standards, you have requirements. So make sure you take advantage of that, right? You make sure that she knows what you're looking for, that she is what you're looking for. Naturally, not she'll pretend. To each their own, but I'd rather mess with a woman that actually believes in my standards and my boundaries and just sees that as, well, that's part of who I am and that's part of who she is. And when she's with me, that's what she's doing. She's representing me in that regards. Right? Let's say she typically drinks socially. I'm not much for drinking. So for me, she'll avoid drinking. Just out of respect, out of love, right? She'll avoid drinking. Maybe sometimes when she's bored at home alone, she'll drink. Fine. But when she's with me and we're being social, she'll avoid the drinks. Just because I don't drink, right? Level of respect, right? Most females love the idea of matching with their man anyway, wearing outfits to match, right? If I dress in a nice suit, she wants to wear a nice dress to match, right? Like a nice black dress to go with my black tux or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So same thing goes for boundaries. If I'm not going to the club shaking my ass, then it makes sense she doesn't go to the club and shake her ass either. But at the same time, if we are club goers, then we'll go to the clubs, right? If that's what we do. But if that's not what I do or she doesn't do, that's the thing, is I'm willing to respect the stuff she doesn't do. Like if she doesn't, let's say I would like to go to clubs, but she doesn't do the whole club thing, then I respect it and, it can compromise. Try to figure something out. Or just not do it at all. It's like, I can live without going to the clubs. It's not like I have to go. But, we'll work it out. She might agree to letting me go to the club, right, for example. And we'll set some rules. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I use myself, one of my exes, we have rules for if, because we had like our top 5 celebrities to sleep with or something like that. And if we ever got a chance, right, one night thing, and we have some rules set just in case that happens. In case I meet a celebrity, the female celebrity that I like, hey, and she wants to have sex with me. It's not like I see her, I'm like, oh, there's the celebrity I like, let me try to get her in bed. It's like, no, it's like, if the opportunity presents itself and she's interested in spending time with me for the one time, right, for the one night, I already have the consent, and we have rules already for it. So I have the consent, I have the green light, and I have the rules for doing so. And that's something they'll set forth. I agree, and that's the thing. She knows my top 5, and I know her top 5. Right? So it wouldn't be too surprising. Not only that, like I said, we have rules. So even just the idea of like, even just mentioning like, hey, I met such and such, and that's one less person on my list. And it's like, all right, fine, that's it. That's all I need to know. I don't want no details and whatnot. That's none of my business. Now I know, and knowing's half the battle, right? So I know 1 down, 4 to go, right? Just keep it moving. It's like, all right, cool, high five. So if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't, right? That's the whole idea. It's like, hey, it was an opportunity, and you wanted to take advantage of it. And I already pre-approved it. So whatever happens, happens. it was interesting with her 5, where I'm like, what? That's the 5? Yeah, go ahead. Got no problem with that. That's pretty cool. Those are some interesting 5s you got there. Like I was saying, the importance of, of setting forth your boundaries. If I, harem, I want to have 5 chicks, 6, 20 chicks, right? In a relationship with me, then, well, obviously, they all have to be in agreement. They all have to agree with it. I'll be okay with it. And of course, I gotta be able to manage it. I gotta be able to make it work. Okay, that's a lot of women to deal with. But if I'm capable of doing it, then I'm capable of doing it. Just like not only capable of doing it by agreeing to having 5+ women in a relationship with me, also be able to afford it. Obviously, be able to give them at least as much equal time as possible. Gotta make it work. And again, like I said, boundaries, rules, all that stuff is important. Because I am who I am. So if I like things a certain way, well, that's the way I like it. And if somebody wants to deal with me, it's best that they understand that that's the way I do things, and either agree with it or you don't. If you don't, obviously, there are other options in the world. Go somewhere where they're doing things differently than me. I'm all about compromise. That's the thing. It's like I'm very flexible. So even though I have boundaries and standards and whatnot, I am flexible because I do compromise. But there are times that logically I shouldn't, right? I shouldn't compromise too much. So, it could be a strength, but it could also be a weakness. I believe in win-win situations, but there are times where it's like, okay, someone's trying to take advantage of me. Time for me to get a W, and I won't compromise. But typically I do, because I'd rather have something than nothing, So I'll compromise.
So, interesting. Compromise. So that also comes into something that I was saying before about the world being yours. One way you can guarantee that the world will be yours is to understand that sometimes in life you have to compromise on things. Not the big things, not the things that are too important to you. And that's the thing. Sometimes you don't want to compromise. But there are times where compromising does bring victory for you in your favor, because what you're doing is you're seeking a greater resolution. You're seeking not to have conflict. And one of the things that I see that in that we talk about a lot is the vetting process. So when we're talking about people getting into relationships, when we're talking about men talking to women, when we're talking about getting to a certain goal, getting over a hurdle, meeting a challenge, overcoming an obstacle, getting to your goal, reaching your peak. When we're talking about moving forward and elevating yourself, we cannot forget that the great compromise that comes with understanding, if we can find a common place, if we can find a common ground, and we can agree to meet on that ground under whatever terms there may be, and we can be honest and forthcoming and understand that what we're seeking is a peaceful resolution, whether it be the ground of a business or personal relationship, that of a friendship or a family dynamic, that we ultimately better ourselves, but we also do not have to feel like we've given up something. We don't have to feel like we lost, because so many people are so concerned with winning. But if you understand that the greater victory is the best outcome, that not only defeats or more or less it just avoids conflict, unnecessary conflict, because it's not always necessary. Sometimes the resolution, getting there where you have your sets of rules, they have their sets of rules, you have your sets of boundaries, their sets of boundaries. You all have this understanding and you all have a peaceful resolve. Sometimes that is much greater than just trying to force your ideas down somebody's throat, force your way of living, or you're forcing yourself past their boundaries. Because we understand, and we talked about before about protecting your boundaries, but you also have to understand and be willing to say, okay, even if they don't want to protect all their boundaries, if I can respect it, then they can acknowledge that. Once they're able to acknowledge that, it leads to an easier, peaceful resolution. And that's why the vetting process is so important. Because, most of the time when you hear the vetting process, you'll hear about the vetting process in relationships, more or less relationship dynamics. But even when you're vetting for a job, even when you're vetting for a position, because that's all it really is, vetting is just essentially an interview where you try to eliminate the do's and don'ts and find your way through the net of what they're saying. Because if a person's being 100% honest, that is great. But we live in a world where a person could be 99.9% honest. Because it's not that they're telling a lie. They could be withholding some information, and they may have things on reserve that you're supposed to come to find out later. So if that's not the type of person you want to be with, if you want to be with a person that's more forthcoming, that's what you have to search out. But until you're able to kind of get to that person, you're going to go through a few people that are going to give you their version of whatever story they want to tell you. And you have to have great discernment. And so if you want to be able to overcome those hurdles, the first thing you can do is have the self-determination to tell yourself, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my own boundaries, make sure they're respected, but I'm also going to respect theirs. Because if they can't recognize it, then that's their loss. But 9 times out of 10, especially if we're talking about the male-female dynamic, that will be recognized. Oh, I don't like this, so this person didn't do that. I didn't have to tell them not to do that because I told them that this is one of the boundaries I had, and it may not be in that language, it may not be with those words, but because you have emotional intelligence and the understanding not to cross that line, you put yourself in a better position, because what you've essentially done is you've come to a compromise. You've told yourself, I'm not going to compromise the position that I've played for myself. So I'm not going to play myself out of the role that I've set. I've already shown that I can respect these boundaries. I've already shown that I can respect the role that I've been set. I've also showed that there are things that I want that I'm going to go after. There are things that I require that I must be given. And there are things that I don't want that I will not take. So now that we've set the playing field, and we've set the rules and terms, we can come here and we can have a nice coming together that's not necessarily built in mistrust, conflict, and deception. It's not always going to be like that, but once you find a person you can do that with, you will essentially begin to get the outcomes you want, and that's essentially what you want at the end of the day, to be able to meet and get these outcomes that you seek. So if it doesn't turn out the way you want, I want to say this: the world is not on fire. And a lot of people nowadays, from my perception and what I see online, offline, a lot of people are treating the world like it's on fire. And everyone is just trying to grab what they can, grab whatever they can, because it seems like everyone wants to be about this negative perception of the world, and they don't want to see the good in everything, which is fine because you're not supposed to be delusional. So yes, you're not supposed to be delusional to a point where you think everybody is good, nobody's out to hurt you. That's not true. But at the same time, you can't have this whole mistrust of the world that everybody's bad, everybody's out to get you, and everybody's going to hurt you. You have to you have to have that discernment, and the more you put focus on having that discernment as part of your skill set that we talked about before, and elevating yourself, becoming a better version of yourself, add that to your skill set. Understanding discernment, and the way you get better at that is you have to deal with a lot of different people, a lot of different personalities. If you've seen any movies or TV shows, you see things now. Yeah, of course, acting is a kind of more exaggerated version of real life, but there are things that come close to it, and you're not going to be some professional behaviorist, but it will give you an idea when you encounter certain familiar behaviors. You'll be able to recognize it, and you'll be able to decide if that's what's best for you. Because obviously at the end of the day, that's the first person you have to worry about is you. You have to decide if this is going to be best for me, if this situation is the one I want to get into. Because at the end of the day, I want the world to be mine. Like I said before, that's what I've basically been speaking to. It's like the world is yours. The world is yours. It's what you make it. And so you have to discern what you want in it. And it all comes full circle when you finally got to the place where you want to be. But before you can get there, you have to pick up the skills and the necessary experiences in order to get to where you want to be. And the first thing you have to do is learn what is it you want to be in your world, what is essential there. Because there are going to be things that are going to be placed around you that you're not really going to want. That's not healthy for you. That's not conducive to your tasks and the goals and the future you're trying to build for yourself. Those are the things you have to vet and get out of the way. So, yes, the world is not on fire. Yes, you have to have this determination. And like I said before, you can't let it become self-destructive. So it is important. The most important thing is that you find what you want, and you make sure that in every relationship and in every encounter and in every personal one-on-one, that in that meeting, especially if it's important to your overall goals in life, that not only does it satisfy the task that you set forth, not only does it satisfy that, but that you've seen that situation for what it is, and you make sure you get the best out of it, and preferably without conflict.
Because when you talk to females, right, the best way to go about it is to ask them questions. I'm supposed to tell them stuff. Don't walk up to them and be like, hey, my name is this, that, and the third. I got a yacht, Lamborghini, blah, 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 Bugatti, all that stuff. Like, I got money, Like, don't make it about yourself, right? Ask questions that has to do with what they're currently doing. Or you could ask them, be reasonable. Don't ask them for the time when it's obvious you have a watch. Don't ask them for the time when you have a phone in your hand, because those two devices can tell you the time, so there's no need to ask, right? Here's the thing. You want to ask a question that only she has the answer for. Like, where did she get that outfit? How much did it cost? Things of that nature. I was thinking of the thing of like when approaching a female at the like at the gym or something. You don't want to approach her when she's working out, obviously, because she's busy. So her working out is her reason for you not to talk to her. So for you not to get rejected because she's working out, even if she's interested, she's working out. She's not here to, to talk to anybody. She's here to work out. So what you do is you wait until she's not busy, like where she's, drinking her drink, standing alone, just waiting for a bit, maybe, looking through her phone while drinking her drink. You can say, hey, what is that you're drinking? Right? She's the only one that can answer that because she's drinking it, right? She can't be like, go Google it or go ask somebody else. No one else would know the answer to that question. Only she would. Same thing as like how much her outfit costs or where did she get that outfit or, even pointing something out like, those are some cool shoes. Things like that. Giving a compliment that has to do with not her butt, her breasts and stuff like that. Try to not make any compliments about her physicality. One, because she already gets too many of those already. And you don't want to be that guy, right? But that's the thing. You got to remember to try to avoid talking about her body. Try to avoid talking about yourself, right? Avoid sex, right? You want her to bring up sex, not you. Let her bring up sex in a conversation. There are some times and ways you could bring up sex, but you gotta be, if you're more experienced like myself, yes, you know when would be the best time to bring up sex, but realistically, you want her to be the one to bring up sex anyway. Ideally, you want her to be the one that, wants sex with you all the time. And then you decide, it's like, no, I'm busy right now, or I'm tired, I'm not in the mood. Or you want to be the one that decides that. There's so many guys out here that, will get with a chick and he wants to have sex with her all the time, but she's not that type of chick. She doesn't want to have sex all the time. Because again, sex is our goal, not theirs. Right? Their goals is different than ours. Right? The top of their list doesn't start off sex and then everything else. For us, it's sex then everything else. So that's why, because of that, because sex is not number one on their list, don't lead with that, right? So, if anything, try to make it seem like you don't care for sex. You care more about other things like her personality, right? Her job, her past, right? Her hobbies. You want to focus on things that, will make her think like, either not once, bring up sex or not once, ask me, he didn't even ask me, to be his girlfriend. He was just talking. He was more interested in asking me questions about who I am as a person than my body or my type. Obviously that's one question you shouldn't ask right away. You could bring it up eventually, but the idea is, by default, when you approach her, she's already on defense and she already wants to reject you. Especially if she's at the gym. She already wants to reject you. So any question you ask has to be, like I said, about her. Only she can answer it. That she can't just be like, why are you asking me? Because, obviously the question is something she can answer. Like where she got that outfit, where, what she's drinking and so forth, so forth. In that type of hypothetical scenario. It could be any other situation. The more you pay attention to her, to what she's wearing, to what she's drinking, if she's drinking something, or eating and whatnot. If you notice she has, something from Wawa or something. She has maybe she has boba tea. You can ask her, where she got it. I mean, don't ask her where she got the boba tea while she's right in front of the boba tea shop. That'd be stupid. It's like, right here in front of us, or we're in the building, like we're in the boba tea shop. Why are you asking me where it's at? Where I got this? Clearly here, right? So be logical, right? That's the thing. Be mindful. Pay attention to your surroundings. You know, I know typically one of the questions you typically want to ask is, "Do you have a boyfriend?" But I'm telling you not to lead with that, right? Because I mean, the way I look at it, the question is, "Do you have a boyfriend?" That is a sexual question. You're asking her if she has a boyfriend because you're hoping she says no, and then be like, "Well, can I be your boyfriend?" And then she's like, "Well, why do you want to be my boyfriend? Is it first sex?" You know what I mean? That's the kind of viewpoint they're gonna look at it, right? You know it is, but you don't want her to know it is, right? You don't want it that's your purpose. That's your intent. We all know ultimately, regardless whether you're a good guy, a bad guy, fuck boy, or a saint, or, whatever, a virgin, whatever. Ultimately, the goal will be sex at some point in time. Like I said, top priority for women ain't sex, so you can't lead with sex. Sometimes you can, especially if it's too obvious that sex is their number one priority. Then that's different. But obviously, I'm talking about women of quality. First and foremost, sex won't be top priority. So, but it does depend on the situation. Like I said, if you're trying to talk to a chick at the gym or at a Starbucks or something, obviously sex is not the top priority in that situation. So you gotta start from the beginning, which is, who are you? What you're doing, what do you do, what do you like, what do you dislike, what's your favorite type of movie, what's your favorite color, favorite food, and this, that, and third, right? Like, literally try to get to know her as an individual human being, almost as you're trying to become her friend. But we all know the goal is more than friends, right? So start off asking her questions that only she could definitely answer. Does she get along with her parents? That kind of stuff. But be careful how you word things. How you say it matters just as much as what you say. So what you say and how you say it are very important. Obviously, don't be yelling at her. Common sense. Right? If she rejects you, this is very important, guys. If she rejects you, turn it into a positive thing, right? Respond to it positively. Because the thing is that you want to make sure it's the whole "don't burn bridges" concept. You don't want to burn the bridges. You don't want to overreact, get mad, catch an attitude because you just burned your bridge. That means you won't get a second chance. And that's the thing. You'd be surprised. Most females, they'll say no, but eventually they'll say yes, and vice versa. They'll say yes and then later on say no. So females have a habit of doing that. They do change their mind. So keep your options open, right? Don't burn your bridges. So if she rejects you, take it, accept it, right? She rejects you, she's like, all right, you gave me a no this time, but you're not gonna keep saying no, right? Next time, I say hi to you and you start talking to me, one thing leads to another, you never know. But you wanna make sure that there is a next time. That there isn't a time where y'all could talk and maybe, it could have a better result. Especially if she approaches you the next time. Because think about it, you approached her this time, she rejected you. Hey, but you were nice about it, right? You're respectful about it. Next time, she'll be the one to approach you. Which you're not gonna say no to her, right? Unless you want to unless you want to be petty and reject her because she rejected you the first time. Again, 2 L's doesn't make a W. Take your first L and just hope for a rematch, right? A second chance and try to get a W. The goal is to always get a W, right? You only need one yes, right? You only need one yes. So, accept that you're going to get no's. You're going to take L's left and right. But all you need is that one W to score, right? That one W to be proud of, right? That's what I'm saying.
So I thought about something, right? Because we here are doing a lot of talking and whatnot. So what can we do with this advice, right? Because I think that people can take most of the things that we say, you can apply it. And that goes for anyone who feels as if the message is talking to them, whether you're male or female. Um, if you recognize that there are things that you want out of life and there are outcomes you want, um, the best thing you can do is take each section that you feel applies to you and run it in your head, run it back, see if it makes sense. See if what I'm telling you or what he's telling you is making any sense to you. Does it talk to you? Does it resonate in any way? Does it turn a light bulb on your head that wasn't there before? Sometimes it will do it, sometimes it won't do it. But I think one of the biggest benefits, and the reason why I say that, and it will be good once you cut this up into clips, because people can then take that and apply it. And that's the beauty of the world that we live in, is that we have this understanding that sometimes you just need something in a short dose. So sometimes we can be long-winded. Sometimes you're like, oh, I wish I could just take that segment of what they said and use that as my motivational point. That's what I need to focus on. And it came somewhere in the middle. So what we'll do is, by cutting it out, you can get that. That'll be offered. But when I say, what can you do with it? You apply it. And you use it as your own motivation. You tell yourself every day, these are the goals and stuff that I set. These are the things that are being tried out, not just by me, not just by those that I'm listening to, but anecdotally, the people around me. Because you want the people around you to become better versions of themselves as well. So you may show them something like, yo, listen, this person said something that was very interesting, something that caught my attention, and it might catch your attention. So, tell me what you think. Maybe I'm off. Maybe they're off. Maybe I want to tell them that they're wrong, and that's fine. Everyone is allowed to have their opinion and everything. But what I mainly want to happen is that you take it and it lets you think. Because if you could think of something better to counter, then that can do nothing but improve what we're doing. If it helps you and it benefits you, then that's the goal. Because the goal is always to self-improve. The goal is always to improve yourself, to get you to a point where you can also improve those around you. Because you want everybody to be in a good place, in a good spot. You don't have to have the crabs in the barrel mentality. Everyone can eat to a degree. And that's why I always end it off, and I always say, have we covered the money, the relationships, the self-improvement, the life improvement? Because I want to cover all of that. I want to make sure that when you're listening, that all of that is covered for you. That way, when you take something away, it may be something you were interested in. If you're interested in money, if you're interested in your life dynamics, self-improvement dynamics, relationship dynamics, you don't want to just sit there and be like, okay, all they talked about was this one thing. So it's good for the person that wants to come hear that one thing, but you don't want to listen to something that may be 10, 15, 20 minutes to an hour of somebody just talking about one thing. You want to be able to grasp multiple things. And that when you listen to it, you're like, oh, that was very interesting. I can take that and apply that. And if you share it, or if somebody else walks up to you, say, hey, have you listened to these guys? They said something that was very deep, was very interesting. Oh, yeah. And then you're like, this is the part that resonated with me. And it creates a conversation, and you keep the conversation going. And that ultimately leads to not only you keeping the conversation going, but it starts new conversations. And then before you know it, you're having a conversation that started here, that started based in the concepts that was presented, but you've been able to take it and evolve it and use it to better yourself. And it all came out of maybe a simple sentence that was said, maybe a simple idea that was given. And ultimately, that's where this advice goes. That's where it goes. It goes into your mind, into your life, and hopefully it leads to the improvement that it is intended for.
Yeah. Obviously, the next step after the initial talking to a female, right, is being able to carry the conversation, right? To be able to continue it, to get it going. You want to be able to not only, you don't want to go through the whole conversation just asking questions, right? The questions was just to get the conversation started. Then you can start throwing in jokes, right? Because the questions just gets her to talk. Jokes is what's going to get her to feel, because women operate on feelings. Guys operate on actions, right? They operate emotions, you operate on actions. So the way you pull women is through emotions. The way women pull men is through actions. So their behavior, the acts, the way they act, right? They act feminine. That's going to get your attention, right? That's going to pull you, right? The fact that they're even talking to you is going to pull you. So the action of them speaking to you, even stuff like, touching you, like touching your shoulders or your hands or something like that, or getting close to you. Even something as simple as her smelling you and telling you it smells good. These actions is her way of pulling you. Just like even something as simple as like even shit testing you, or even giving you like an angry face. Like she'll look at you like you offended her, just to see how you react. To see if well, basically she's shit testing, right? So it's all physical, right? So when females interact with guys, it's obviously in a physical capacity.